can easily fit in a backpack like this. And it also makes the board very expensive. So it'll be really interesting to see what Glorious do next, and how they've transitioned from the Model O to their next mouse. I personally really hope they make something just a little bit smaller for those who prefer, smaller mouse with a claw grip.
And Glorious did deliver. Here we have the Model O-, a smaller iteration on the original Model O that I think a lot of you are going to enjoy. So today we're going to see how the Model O- stacks up against the Final Mouse Ultralight 2 and the Cooler Master MM710, and I'll share my personal opinion on whether I think the Model O- is worth picking up for you. Now we'll get to the specs of the mouse towards the end. I want to get to the most important details here first. So if there's one thing I want to highlight about the Model O- right away, it's that this is a really small mouse. Recently we took a look at the Final Mouse Ultralight 2 and Cooler Master MM710, and as you can see the Model O- is a very similar size. I would say that it is closer to the Ultralight 2, a very similar height off the mouse pad, but noticeably longer and a little wider. Now the original Model O was a very safe shape and size. I'd say that 90% or more of the hand sizes out there would be able to adapt a palm, fingertip, claw, or other grip to that mouse. The Model O- is still ambidextrous, but it's a lot more specific. It's a lot smaller than the Model O, 8mm shorter in length, 3mm narrower at the rear, and 1.5mm shorter in height. This means that if you have large hands like myself, I'm not going to lie, you are going to struggle to find a comfortable grip here. The only way that I'm able to grip the Model O- is with a pronounced claw grip on each finger, which kind of felt unnatural for me personally. Since I use my forearm to pivot my aim, I found myself often making too much contact with my hand on the mouse pad, which made aiming a bit more difficult, simply because the Model O- is a bit too flat and close to the mouse pad. I have this same issue with the Ultralight 2 without the Infinity skins, but not with the Cooler Master MM710. If you have small to medium sized hands though, this might just be the perfect gaming mouse for first person shooters for you currently. So again, this is a very small mouse. Don't buy this if you have large hands, and certainly not if you like to palm grip. In terms of weight, the Model O- is a touch heavier than the Ultralight 2 and MM710. All three are under 60 grams in weight and can easily be considered super lightweight mice. It's crazy to think that all three of these mice have released within a few months of each other. For those of you who are skeptical about the advantages of using a lightweight mouse for first-person shooters, it really is something that needs to be experienced. While I would consider mice that are under 80 grams light enough for first-person shooters, 60 grams and under is a real game changer. The problem at that point is that we start entering in the territory of small specific shapes that aren't going to be suitable to everyone. I feel like that sums up all three of these mice really well. Small, but specific. The Model O- comes in both black and white, with matte and glossy variants for both. My personal favorite is the matte black option in terms of the grip and resistance to any surface imperfections. I'd only look at getting the glossy model if you find that your hands are on the drier end. If your hands warm up and sweat a little with some gaming, then the matte models are likely the safer choice. In terms of the buttons, they all feel great, just like the original Model O. Not super light, but light enough. They're light Omron switches with a noticeable click, and the same for the scroll wheel. If you want to get really specific, they're not as light as what you'll find on the Ultralight 2 and the G Pro Wireless, which are my two personal favorites for the switches. The cable is extremely soft and flexible. As far as I can see, it's identical to the one on the original Model O. This cable is pretty soft and loose. It's more like a shoelace material. Paracord is a little bit thinner and lighter. So after using wireless mice as my mains in the past, I'm currently at the point now where I really am not fazed by these soft cables when used with a bungee. After a while you even forget that the cable is there. So if going with a wide mouse allows you to use something potentially lighter with a better shape, then that is easily worth the trade-off in my opinion. The glide on the Model O and O- is truly glorious. 0.8mm PTFE pads on each corner of the mouse with rounded edges, and the best part is that you can buy replacements if needed. The sensor is the PMW 3360, just like the original Model O, and just like many of the top gaming mice out there still used by professional esports players. Polling rate is 1000 Hz by default, and I measured the liftoff distance to be between 0.5 and 1mm. The Model O- works fine with the original glorious Model O software. You can customize polling rate, DPI setting, and of course the lighting. The RGB lighting is the same as the original Model O, extremely well diffused so that you can't see the individual LEDs, and you've got a few different lighting effects. If you don't like the default rainbow, you can change that to something a little bit more understated like a single color, or you can just disable it. Build quality is solid for all 4 of the models that I've got here, and they felt exactly the same. You can actuate the 2 left side buttons if you squeeze hard enough, just like the Ultralight 2 and MM710, but it is not likely that you'll do this when you're actually gaming. The main mouse buttons have some very slight wiggle from side to side, but this is an improvement on the original Model O, and it's definitely better than the MM710 from Cooler Master. So as I alluded to previously, although this is an exceptional mouse, it isn't for me. It's a bit too small to the point where my hand is making too much contact with the mouse pad. This is basically the same issue that I had with the Bear Ultralight 2. If your hands are on the smaller end, say smaller than 18 centimeters down by 9 to 9.5 centimeters across, I would say that you are good to go with the Model O-. Anything above that and you are going to struggle to find a comfortable grip with this mouse. Also, for those players who prefer to pivot their mouse with their wrist and play on a high sensitivity, the Model O- could work really well there too. In terms of the Model O- versus the Cooler Master MM710, which we also recently reviewed, similar size, similar weight, of course a different shape though, so keep that in mind. I do prefer the Model O-. Overall, it does feel like a better built mouse. The side play on the main buttons is a lot less, and I mean a lot. It is really a significant issue on the MM710, and you're also not going to get the potential pinching issues from the side of the main buttons that I personally experienced on the MM710. Also, if you were planning on getting the Final Mouse Ultralight 2, but perhaps you missed out on the exclusive drop, or maybe you just don't want to pay $120 for a mouse, the Model O- from Glorious is about as close as you can currently get, and the best part is it's less than half the price at $49 US. And so closing things out, this is an exceptional mouse. If I had to pick one out of these 3, it would be the Model O-. And the reason for that is that the Model O- doesn't have any issues at all that I can think of, and none that I certainly came across while testing. The Ultralight 2, 1, you can't buy it, 2, it's expensive when you can buy it, and 3, the Infinity skins are pretty much worthless. They wear out within about 2 weeks. The MM710 does have some build quality issues, the main buttons rattle, and they do pinch on the sides. And so I'd love to know your thoughts on the Model O-. Are you planning to pick one up? If so, you can check out the links down below. As always, a huge thanks for watching. Consider subscribing down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you all in the next one.